Once upon a time, in an enchanted kingdom, there was a beautiful princess with skin as white as snow and hair as black as night.
Blah, blah, blah. Her hair is not black, it's raven, and she's 18 years old, and her skin has never seen the sun, so of course it's good.
Kevin McCarthy, Washington, D.C.
I was just going to say this.
Yeah. The three of us.
We planned this out.
Memo.
We should go on tour. First of all, I loved watching you play this dual personality character in the film. I think it's always fascinating to see you, like an actor, play against themselves. And I wanted to say, going back over your other films in your previous career, what would be a film that would benefit from having another dual character played by yourselves in the movie?
I don't know.
You've way more than me.
It was so complex, that whole being in that cottage. We were in there for a week doing all that, and it was kind of, we just had to get the tones just right with each, you know. Fortunately, my sister, who's an actor, came in and played me on the other side of everything. So when I was in the white dress, she was reading the dialogue of the queen, and when I was the queen, she was reading the dialogue in the mirror, and that made it really helpful. And it was something that Tarsem, we saved it to the end because we really labored over how to find the tone of what that relationship was.
Right.
Well, I guess I've not done that much before. Maybe Lucy from Priest, because she ends up being locked in a cage the whole movie, and I wish I could have done more.
Yeah.
I wish I could have been more of a fighter and really gone after, you know, more of the action early on.
I was thinking it'd be funny if it was like Pretty Woman and Ugly Woman, and they just did like two versions of the movie. That would look awesome. At least you couldn't pull off the Ugly though. It wouldn't work. It just wouldn't.
You should have seen me about 4 hours ago.
No.
This spring,
Mirror, mirror on the wall,
Who's the fairest of them all?
Snow White.
What?
What? Snow White.
a classic tale
Do you want to hear it?
gets a new wrinkle.
They're not wrinkles. They're just crinkles. Banish her to the woods.
Is it done?
Just as you instructed.
I'm impressed. You're not as pathetic and wimpy as I have always believed.
That's the nicest thing you've ever said to me.
I need your advice. If someone happens to put a spell on me, and I become a dog in Washington, D.C. somewhere, and how do I look cool doing it? Like, what are the tips you can give me to be able to successfully do this?
Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe you could have someone like Tarsem sing, direct it, and you know, like have like that kind of visual sort of help, and have Julia Roberts as your scene partner. It's kind of like tennis. You know, it's like you play tennis with someone who's better than you, and it brings your game up.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that kind of thing. Just have a good scene partner.
Okay, so just follow Tarsem. Follow me around everywhere I go.
It would, I gotta tell you, dude, you'd have a hell of a time. That guy's awesome.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Is that the one director you would have follow you everywhere you go?
Oh man, no, because I wouldn't, you know, presume to be that, you know, presumptuous. I would rather just pick a director to follow around, and Tarsem would not be a bad one, especially because he drives an Aston Martin, and just the sound of that thing would be great to follow around.
I want to rock that out. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
All right, serious.
You should have seen it. At one point, we were in Montreal, and we all went to like a big dinner, and at the end of the dinner, Tarsem's like, "I'm driving, who's coming with me?" And like 4 of the dwarves like loaded up into his Aston Martin, and they just start tearing through Montreal. They've got the windows down. They're just like hitting on every chick that they drive by. It was great.
Did you get to go in it?
Yeah, I've been in it. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. That is awesome.
And he tried to scare me. He tried to like do something where he slid around the thing, and I just went faster like that as he was doing it. And he said, as a result of my reaction when he tried to scare me, I am never allowed to drive his car.
Oh,
ever.
dude, that's not fair.
I know.
If I ever get an Aston Martin, you can drive it.
Dude, are you sure you want to say?
Okay. I'll never get an Aston Martin because I don't have that kind of money. But if I ever do,
maybe.
I'll give you a call.
Okay, good.
Totally cool. Seriously.
Oh man, I hope you don't save up forever and finally get an Aston Martin and then I crash it or
like
something like that.
40 years from now, it's like, like you look like you did in J. Edgar by that point.
You're invited to discover
The prince is rich. I'm going to marry him, and then my financial problems will be solved.
an untold adventure
Organize a ball. We are going to sweep this kid off his feet.
of romance,
I think Snow White is the most beautiful woman in the whole world.
Agree to disagree.
mystery,
Who are you?
Snow White.
No who? No way!
power,
This doesn't fit.
Well, you must have shrunk it, cinch me up. I knew I was the same size.
My favorite line of the movie is this, the line about, it's important to know when you've been beaten. And I think it's an interesting line because as actors, you guys have to go through so many, the audition process and getting the roles. When you don't get a role that you've wanted, how do you accept that? How do you move forward from there?
I always felt like whoever they had cast, it made sense to me in terms of that person's personality or the way that they performed it or what they brought to it. It was just something unique to them that I wouldn't have provided.
Yeah, I remember at the beginning I was told no a lot, and this is still very new for me, so it's kind of fresh in my mind. And I'm still being told no on certain things, but I realize everything happens for a reason, and there's a reason the director has a certain vision, and if it's in that person, then that's meant for them, and there's something else out there for me. So I kind of learned also early on that don't labor too long on missing out on something because something else will come along.
Fortunately, in acting, it's not so much that you've been beaten as much as they just have a very specific idea of what they want. So you could come in, let's say you went in to audition for something and you had the perfect everything, the perfect hair, the perfect look, the perfect sound, the perfect body, but your eyes needed to be green. Or your, you needed to have a different accent or something like that. It can be something that minute that you are so out of control of that that's the reason they give it to somebody else that you really have no control over it anyway, so you just kind of got to let it go.
You just push past it.
Yeah.
And this whole idea.
And it's going to happen about 500, 600, 700 times before you end up getting a job anyway, so you got to get used to it.
How do you stay in the mindset of, okay, because every once in a while, if you do get if you don't get a part, or in my life, if something doesn't go right, I always start to get down on myself. Is this the right thing for me? How do you look past that and go, okay, I will get that big role eventually? I mean, obviously you
get to get past it in your head.
Yeah.
Like as soon as something happens and it doesn't go the way you did, you got to just be like, okay, next thing, let's go. And it's like, but if you leave your mind back there, it's like, oh man, there's this great story. I know you're getting the wrap up.
Please
I have
tell
to finish
me.
this story.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are two monks walking down the road, and it had been raining, so it was really muddy, and they're both sort of just like meditating and walking, and they come across a beautiful geisha who cannot cross the road because her robes will get completely muddy. So one of the monks walks over and he picks her up and he carries her over to the other side and he puts her down, and then he gets back next to the other monk and they continue walking the rest of the day, and it's almost nighttime and they're just about to get to their monastery, and the other monk turns to him and goes, you know, man, I just want to say before we get in there, I'm gonna have to say something because we're monks. We're not supposed to do things like pick up women, carry them across the road and stuff like that. So I just wanted you to know that, that was really inappropriate. And the other monk looks at him and goes, I put her down several hours ago. Are you still carrying her?
And magic.
I'll use the love potion.
Puppy love.
What am I supposed to do with a puppy?
You can rub my tummy.
Queen is getting married.
Take back your kingdom. I read so many stories where the prince saves the princess. It's time we change that ending.
You're with the bandits?
You're with the queen.
Should we help her?
She's doing pretty good on her own.
If you weren't trying to stab me right now, I might be tempted to kiss you.
The bandit's leader is a she.
Bandit's leader is Snow White.
It's so funny watching Armie with the dog potion when he's doing that. I mean, it's one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. If you hypothetically were able to get like a potion in your life and be under a spell and have like some type of magical powers, what would it be and why?
Well, you're going with the assumption that we don't have magical powers. So, so there's that.
I snap my fingers and look like this. No.
I think I would take an energy potion.
Yes, like an immediate Red Bull.
Just something to kind of,
That would be
wake up and feel that you've slept for 10 hours.
That'd be brilliant.
Yeah.
I think I would just love to be able to snap my fingers and be somewhere else. So like after this junket, I could just be on like a beach somewhere and then the next day go work again. Like just so that I could
cross the street.
That's true.
We can make that happen for you,
I
Lily.
can do that. See, I have magical powers already.
Who feels like crashing a wedding?
And here I was having such a good day. Everyone has magic within them. Yes. I definitely have a happily ever after thing going on.
Mirror, mirror.
Anyone know how to break a spell?
Say hello to my little friend.
Experience the untold adventures of Snow White.